Imagine the wealthiest person who ever lived. Forget today's tech billionaires. We're traveling back almost 700 years to the heart of West Africa, to the sprawling Malian Empire, ruled by a man whose wealth was so vast, it's almost impossible to calculate. This is the story of Mansa Musa, the Golden King. So, who was this incredibly rich ruler? Born around 1280, Musa Keita, later known as Mansa Musa, which means King of Kings, ascended to the throne of Mali in 1312. He wasn't born the heir apparent. The story goes that his predecessor, Mansa Abubakar II, was an explorer obsessed with the Atlantic Ocean. He assembled a massive fleet and set off to discover what lay beyond the horizon, leaving Musa as his regent. Abubakar never returned, and so, Mansa Musa became the undisputed ruler of an empire at the peak of its power. To understand Musa's wealth, you have to understand the Malian Empire. At that time, it was one of the largest empires in the world, stretching for about 2,000 miles, from the Atlantic coast deep into the Sahara Desert. It encompassed modern-day Mali, Senegal, the Gambia, Guinea, and parts of Niger, Mauritania, and Burkina Faso. This wasn't just a vast expanse of land, it was a territory blessed with unimaginable natural resources. And the most valuable of all, gold. The Malian Empire controlled more than half of the world's entire supply of gold. The mines of Bambouk, Bur, and Galam were legendary, producing gold of the purest quality. This wasn't just a kingdom with some gold, it was a kingdom built on gold. It was the lifeblood of their economy and the source of Mansa Musa's legendary fortune. While Europe was struggling through the Middle Ages, Mali was a beacon of prosperity and stability, a sophisticated empire with a complex administration and a powerful army. Cities like Timbuktu and Jen were becoming bustling centers of trade and Islamic scholarship. For the first 12 years of his reign, Mansa Musa focused on consolidating his empire, expanding its borders, and strengthening its trade routes. He was a devout Muslim, and Islam had been present in the region for centuries, but Musa would take its influence to a whole new level. He integrated Islamic law and culture into his administration, but it was his decision to fulfill one of the 5 pillars of Islam that would truly put him and his empire on the world map forever. In 1324, Mansa Musa embarked on the Hajj, the sacred pilgrimage to Mecca. But this was no ordinary journey. This was a procession of such staggering opulence that its story would echo through history for centuries. Imagine a caravan stretching as far as the eye can see, moving slowly across the Sahara Desert. This wasn't just a few travelers, this was a mobile city. The numbers are mind-boggling. Chronicles of the time report that his entourage included 60,000 men. This massive group included a full personal retinue, soldiers for protection, court officials, entertainers, merchants, and 12,000 attendants, each dressed in fine silks and carrying a staff of pure gold. But that's not even the most incredible part. The caravan also included a train of 80 to 100 camels, and each camel was laden with up to 300 pounds of pure gold dust. Think about that for a moment. That's thousands upon thousands of pounds of gold, simply for expenses along the way. As this river of gold and humanity wound its way across Africa, it left a trail of awe and economic chaos in its wake. The journey covered nearly 4,000 miles. Their first major stop was Cairo, the bustling capital of the Mamluk Sultanate in Egypt. At the time, Cairo was one of the most powerful and sophisticated cities in the world, a major hub of trade and culture. Yet, even the Cairenes were unprepared for the spectacle of Mansa Musa. When Musa arrived, he was so generous, so lavish with his gifts, that he single-handedly altered the city's economy. He gave away gold to everyone he met, from the Sultan of Egypt to the poorest people on the streets. He poured so much gold into Cairo's markets that the value of gold plummeted. This sudden, massive influx of the precious metal caused hyperinflation, and according to historians, the economy of Cairo took over a decade to fully recover. He literally broke the gold market. This act, while perhaps unintentional in its economic consequences, cemented his reputation. News of the fabulously wealthy African king spread like wildfire. Traders from Venice, Genoa, and other parts of Europe heard the tales. Cartographers began to draw maps of Africa with a new figure on them, a majestic king sitting on a golden throne, holding a golden scepter and a massive gold nugget. For the first time for many Europeans, West Africa wasn't a blank space on the map, it was the home of the Golden King. After leaving Cairo, Mansa Musa completed his pilgrimage to the holy cities of Mecca and Medina. He spent lavishly there as well, funding the construction of mosques and religious schools. But his journey wasn't just about spending, it was also about learning and collecting. On his way back, he brought with him scholars, architects, poets, and astronomers, particularly from Andalusia and Egypt. He was determined to turn his empire into a leading center of Islamic learning and culture. One of the most significant figures he brought back was an architect named Abu Ishaq al-Sahili. Al-Sahili was tasked with a grand building program across the Malian Empire. His work would introduce new architectural styles, blending traditional Sudano-Sahelian techniques with influences from the wider Islamic world. The result was a series of magnificent mud brick mosques and palaces, some of which still stand today. The most famous of these is the Djengerber Mosque in Timbuktu, a testament to the cultural golden age that Mansa Musa initiated. Upon his return to Mali around 1325, Musa was not the same ruler. He was now an internationally renowned figure, and he was determined to elevate his empire's status. He focused his immense resources on an ambitious project, transforming Timbuktu from a regional trading post into a world-class center of learning. He established universities, libraries, and mosques. The most famous, the University of Sankore, became one of the most important intellectual centers in the world, housing hundreds of thousands of manuscripts and attracting scholars and students from across Africa and the Middle East. Under Mansa Musa, Timbuktu became a legendary city of wealth, culture, and wisdom. Its libraries held more books than any other city in Africa, with subjects ranging from law and theology to astronomy, mathematics, and medicine. It was a place where ideas were exchanged as freely as gold and salt. The saying at the time was that more profit was made from the trade in books than from any other commodity. Mansa Musa ruled for about 25 years, and in that time, he transformed the Malian Empire. He secured its trade routes, expanded its territory, and fostered a cultural and intellectual renaissance. His pilgrimage had opened up diplomatic and trade relations with North Africa and the Middle East, enriching his empire not just with wealth, but with knowledge and new ideas. His legacy was one of prosperity, stability, and unparalleled cultural achievement. So, just how rich was he? It's the question everyone asks, and the answer is, it's almost impossible to say. His wealth was so immense, derived from near limitless supplies of gold and salt, that modern economists and historians struggle to put a number on it. Some have tried to estimate it, with figures reaching the equivalent of $400 or $500 billion in today's money, but even that feels inadequate. His wealth wasn't just in currency, it was in land, resources, and influence. He was, by any measure, incomprehensibly rich. Richer than any individual on Earth today, and possibly, richer than anyone who has ever lived. Mansa Musa died around 1337, leaving behind a powerful and prosperous empire for his son, Magan I. Though the Malian Empire would eventually decline in the following centuries, the legacy of its greatest king endured. He had shown the world the immense wealth and sophistication of West Africa. He turned Timbuktu into a mythic city of gold and wisdom and sponsored an architectural and intellectual movement that would influence the region for generations. The story of Mansa Musa is more than just a tale of incredible wealth. It's a story about vision, faith, and the power of culture. It's a reminder that history is full of powerful empires and remarkable figures that are often overlooked in Western-centric narratives. Mansa Musa, the Golden King of Mali, wasn't just the richest man in history, he was a builder of cities, a patron of knowledge, and a leader who literally put his empire on the map. His golden journey changed the world's perception of Africa forever. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey back in time, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, And hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next exploration into history's most fascinating stories. See you next time.